Okay, we're online. Great. Hello, Liz. Thank you for being with me today or
Uh,
this morning. Yeah, for you this morning, for me this evening. I think.
yes. Hi,
So
Simon. Thank you for having me.
yeah, don't worry. I'm really glad. So yeah, it's Simon from Languages Together, and you're Liz, and I'm very glad to have the opportunity to meet you because yeah, you teach Luxembourgish. I just met you on Facebook through your Facebook page, and you're from Luxembourg. Uh, you live in Canada at the moment, and yeah, you teach Luxembourgish. Um, you teach foreigners Luxembourgish. Is that right?
Yes, because my husband is Canadian and I studied in Scotland and now live in Canada. I've been speaking English for a long time.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
I realized that there was not a lot of teachers in Luxembourg who teach
Indeed.
Luxembourgish in English or who there's some teachers who are experienced in teaching it in French or in German, but practically nobody was out there publicly, at least,
Yeah.
trying to uh, make the language more accessible to English speakers.
Sure. Sure.
So I
Okay.
thought, hey, I think I speak English well, so
Yeah.
I'll
No.
do that.
Yeah. Sure. That's a great idea. And then, how long have you been teaching Luxembourgish to foreigners?
So, not that long. I got my certificate in 2012.
Yeah. Okay.
So, um, I guess, yeah, since practically since then, maybe since the beginning of 2013, because in 2012 we just moved to Canada as well. So I
Okay.
probably
Okay.
didn't teach then.
Yeah. Sure. Okay. So yeah, you have um, uh, uh, a Facebook page called Learn Luxembourgish, right?
Yes.
Yes. You have a YouTube channel. Um, and then you have a website, learnluxembourgish.com, and you just wrote a book in it. So,
Yes.
okay, is it already available or?
No, so I just sent it off to the printers in Luxembourg last week.
Ah, yes. Okay,
So it will be available in March, and
okay,
it will be
March.
available in Luxembourgish bookstores. And um, I'm still trying to figure out how to sell it from my website, but I'm pretty sure I'll manage to do it.
Sure, yeah, you
So
already,
people can buy it online as well.
sure, yes, you already do it with other things, no?
Yeah.
Like t-shirts, you sell t-shirts, no?
Yes.
Yeah,
I
it's like,
I got
it's
a
crazy.
lot of complaints from learners, and this has been a common theme for a long time. And I know myself I have this problem. So because Luxembourgers are so used to speaking other languages, and we are such a small country, and we feel that we have to adapt to the language the other people speak.
Sure.
As soon as we realize that the other person is French or the other person is German, we switch to that language because we want to
Mhm.
accommodate them. It's kind of I think it's out of politeness as well. But the problem is for
Yeah,
people who want to learn it, they never get the opportunity to speak.
sure.
So I started doing t-shirts, and I mean you can print the slogan on anything. There's coffee cups and
Yeah.
buttons to put on your t-shirt. But it just, the slogan says, I'm learning Luxembourgish.
Yes.
Please speak to me in Luxembourgish. That's the message.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So
Yeah, it's
hopefully
brilliant.
people will be brave enough to wear it.
Yeah,
And
sure.
then,
It's a
because
good
it
idea.
takes a little bit of courage to go out there and ask people to speak to you in a foreign language, because then there's
Sure.
no way out. You have to reply.
Mhm. Of course, yeah, that's right. But that's also how you learn, no? Yeah, you
Exactly.
dare to speak, and yes. So okay, so which languages do you speak, Liz?
I speak. German, French, English, Luxembourgish. And I learned Spanish in school.
Yeah.
And I was actually, when I was 19, I was able to have a conversation, but I have not spoken it since. It's a big regret, but you
Yes.
know, life sometimes gets in the way.
Yeah,
So I
it's
think
not
I've
too late,
lost
no?
a lot of my Spanish
Yes.
abilities.
Yeah, okay, great. But it's not too
But
late
I
to
saw, sorry, go ahead.
get started again. No.
True, very true.
Yeah.
And I saw you have a video where you did a Spanish challenge on
Oh,
iTalk
you
I.
saw it. Yeah, that's right.
Yes, you spoke
Yes, yes,
very
that's
well.
right. Thank you, thank you. Yeah, I tried. Yeah, iTalk is a great website. Okay, so well, so you just said, of course, I'm surprised, and our viewers might be surprised as well. You said you speak four languages, and yeah, more Spanish, but you speak four languages kind of perfectly, no? Like, um, yeah, no,
Perfectly is a stretch, but
we worked in French together, and it was perfect. And I guess, as you are from Luxembourg, you don't even have to prove it because it's surprising, but we have to know that in Luxembourg, it's kind of everybody's like that. No, everybody's bilingual, trilingual, even more. No,
yes. So I think it's a wonderful thing, to be honest. Um,
sure,
Everybody in school, what is the age where you would learn it? So I think it's when you're 6 and you go to primary school, you start learning German, and a year later, I think they start with French.
yes,
And it's I mean, you can't get around to it. There's no other way in a country this small, surrounded by other languages. You have to adapt.
sure,
You have to teach your children to
sure,
communicate. It's
sure.
it's a it's a great thing. I sometimes wonder if we're missing out on other knowledge, like science,
Yeah,
because you only have so many hours in school. You can only teach so much. If languages take up a good chunk of your time, well,
yes,
you're not doing other things in that time.
yes, sure.
But
But
then again, not everybody should know the same things on this earth, right? We can benefit
sure.
from people knowing different things.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. And then Luxembourg has three official languages, no, national languages: French, German, and Luxembourgish. No.
Yes,
Okay, and then you learn them from an early age, no? Like
yes,
when you have 6, you directly go to school in French or in German. I don't know how is it. I think that official texts are written in French. It's right.
yes,
And
absolutely, yeah.
newspaper are more in German and television as well. I don't know how it works.
So, um, yeah, official text you will find mostly in French. Um, some of them, depending on the website you look at now, some of the material is also translated to German and even English. There's a website called guichet.lu where you can find
Hmm.
like administrative procedures and like how to get a
Ah,
new
yes.
passport. It's all explained, and they have
Hmm.
a lot of information actually in English, which is great if you want to attract international business to your country, I
Sure.
guess.
Yeah. 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 Sure. And
And then, but yeah, you're right. A lot of newspapers are in German, although a lot of publications also in French, and like L'Essentiel and I think Paper Jam for the most part. The Paper
hmm
Jam is like a business magazine. It's written mostly in French, but English also is coming slowly.
really.
Yeah.
And then between you, I mean, between Luxembourgers, yeah, Luxembourgers.
Sure, yeah.
Okay, I wasn't sure of the word. Between Luxembourgers, you speak Luxembourgish, I think, when you meet in the street with your friends and so on. But when it comes to to hear on the television to write, it's more French or German than Luxembourgish. But it's the language that you all speak, but you don't use it to write. You don't use it to. Is that true? I mean,
It's changing. It used to be, I remember my grandmother, she used to speak exclusively in Luxembourgish unless she had like a really pressing reason not to. If the other person really didn't understand Luxembourgish, she could switch to German or French. But all my life, I've just heard her speak Luxembourgish. She would write in German because she was
yes,
never taught anything about how to write Luxembourgish. So
sure.
she would, whatever message she had to give us, like buy milk, it would be in German.
Yeah, great.
But now it's changing, and I think due to a big part because of social media. I think now with text messages and Twitter, Luxembourgers feel more comfortable chatting to each other in Luxembourgish because it could be like a quick back and forth of messages.
Hmm.
So I think people enjoy writing Luxembourgish, but still a lot of them never learned it. So there's a
Yeah,
lot of mistakes.
sure, yeah. For example, if you have a test at school in the primary, the secondary, it will never be in Luxembourgish. I mean,
No,
you never write. Yeah, that's awesome. Great,
no.
great.
There is apparently a course that can be taught. I think it's early high school, so around age 12 or 13 maybe. There's a course that can be taught that is like Luxembourgish an hour a week.
Ah, yeah, okay.
But I know a lot of instances where the German teacher at the school is told that they now have to teach this hour of Luxembourgish. The German teacher themselves, they don't know how to write Luxembourgish.
Hmm.
So they sometimes if they're motivated, they will go and try to learn. But other times they will just ignore it and teach German during
Yeah.
this hour that's supposed to be for Luxembourgish.
Ah, yes, okay.
So I think
Great.
I think a lot has to be done in schools still to
Sure. Yeah,
teach
that's right.
and also teach about Luxembourgish history. We learn a lot about German and French history because we get the books from other countries.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, okay. But yeah, that's incredible. You know, I think it's kind of a unique case in uh, yeah, maybe in the world. Yeah, there are also countries bilingual, multilingual, but Luxembourgish, it's like here in Belgium, we have three national languages, Dutch, French, and German, but we don't speak it. Most of people, yeah, maybe in the capital, but most of people just speak their own native language. Yeah, unless in the German-speaking part, that's it's a bit like Luxembourg. There are a minority of people, so they have to adapt themselves,
Yes.
and then they speak very well French and Dutch as well. But well, it's an example. But here in Belgium, most of people don't speak their national languages. You do in Luxembourg, so why? How is that possible? Do you think that all Luxembourgish people are overgifted?
That overgifted because we speak so many languages, or
Yeah, in languages, I mean, in
oh,
terms of learning languages.
no. I'd love to take that compliment, but no, I don't think I can. I think this would happen to anybody if they were taught languages in school and if they had that much opportunity to speak outside of the classroom. You
Yeah,
know, you learn German and French at such an early age, but then you also hear it a lot and you use it a lot. So you go and buy shoes, chances are you'll have to speak French.
hmm,
So from an
yeah,
early age, you have to know to say your shoe size in French, or
Sure,
and
yeah, that's right.
that's the environment that's good for learning languages.
Yeah, yeah, sure. But and I don't know if you know, but in most of yeah, I want to say most of countries in the world, because I have spoken to a lot of people from all over the world, and they all say that school isn't the best way to learn languages. I don't think so. At least not in Belgium, not in my school. If you don't practice them outside the school, you can't reach a good level. So people don't
Hmm.
have faith anymore in school. They don't believe in school to learn languages, at least. In Luxembourg, you seem to believe in school. You seem to know the system seems to be really different. You know, I don't know if it's about the hour, but yeah, you have to speak it in the street, in your life. You hear it, but you also, yeah, have to learn to write it, and everything is done in school. So is it different? Is it a great difference, the way languages are taught in school in Luxembourg?
I think it's a cultural thing. I'm not really qualified to answer, you know, the details about one school system versus the school system in another
Yeah,
country. I
yeah,
haven't
sure.
looked at it, but
Yeah,
I think the most important difference would be to it's a cultural environment you're in. If I take French, the French who are trying to learn English in school, how
hmm
many French kids, how many French teenagers go out after school and get the opportunity to speak and practice their English? There's
yeah,
there's just
sure.
there's no shoe store in, well, in Paris maybe, I wouldn't be so sure.
Yeah,
But there's no shoe store you can walk in and get your shoes in English, from a
sure. Yeah,
native speaker, that is, you know.
sure. Yeah, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Um, so it's an in Luxembourg, it's just the whole culture and the environment is built in such a way that you can't escape it, and you have to practice, you have to speak whatever you learned in school, and
hmm Yeah.
you do it frequently, so it just gets ingrained.
Yeah, yeah, okay, great. Then, but I said of a gifted, because in the sense that, yeah, most of the time, so you speak your national languages, but most of the time you speak more, no? Um, I, I, I watched a video one day. They were asking people in the streets which languages do you speak, and yeah, of course they spoke German, French, and Luxembourgish, but they also speak Spanish, Portuguese, English, of course, and they speak more Greek. I don't know. Do you think that the fact that you know so many languages from an early age, nearly at a native level, you know, do you think that have it helps you to learn more languages because you're already into linguistics from an early age, so you know how to maybe to learn them better. I don't know.
Absolutely. I think the more languages you speak and you learn, the easier it is to build on that knowledge and learn more. With your first foreign language you learn, you know basic concepts of grammar, um, and you can reuse all that to learn your next language.
Yeah,
And in at least in European languages, there's a lot of vocabulary we share,
sure.
and that's a great help if you're learning a new language. You can in school we were taught not to do that, but I actually fully encourage it, to cheat in that way. Like, just if you don't know the word, just try it with a word that you know, um, like l'automobile, l'automobile. And
Yeah,
okay, English people prefer car, but they still would get your
yeah, sure.
automobile. So
Yeah,
just
sure.
turn the word into whatever language you're
Of
speaking.
course.
Change your
Yeah,
accent.
It
Make it
often
sound
works,
good.
yeah.
Yeah.
Sure, no, but that's right. It often works, and yeah, but yeah, I don't know. I was surprised by yeah, you speak three languages from an early age, and it gives you the need, the envy to learn more. And yeah, I found it great. I don't know. It's
So,
yeah.
how many languages do you speak?
Oh well, perfectly. I only speak French, unfortunately, so far. But yeah, hopefully I can manage to speak. Oh, obviously, sorry, I can manage to speak English. And
Very well.
yeah, and thank you. Yeah, I still have to improve it, of course, but I can also manage to speak Spanish. And yeah, I know I've been learning Dutch at school, and yeah, I know some
That's
basics in
amazing.
other languages, but not that much. Yeah, well, it interests me, but I still have a lot of work to do and things to learn. But I have time. I have time.
So, where
And
does this desire to know so many languages come from for you?
well, yeah, it was like 2 years ago, I think. I just subscribe on a website. I don't even use it anymore now, but to improve my English, it was only my English, and yeah, I met interesting people from different countries. I discovered the world staying at home, and then I just yeah, I don't know, I just plunged into linguistics, and I just wanted to learn more and more, and now I want to yeah, basically to do it all my life. Like yeah, it comes from this desire to meet different people, discover different cultures, and because yeah, finally, I think that if you stay at home your whole life, you miss so many things, and yeah, that's the main reason, I suppose.
Right. I think that's amazing because you're doing it voluntarily. You have no immediate need. Like, some people learn a language because they absolutely need to know it for work, or
Yeah,
they
sure.
they have to know it. If this doesn't apply to Luxembourg, but if you were to move to
Yeah,
Spain, chances are you have to speak Spanish.
sure. Yeah,
So yeah, Luxembourg is a little bit different. You don't really
yeah,
have
sure.
to speak Luxembourgish.
But if you yeah, sure. But if you learn languages this way because you have to learn it, I think it's yeah, it all depends on the way you take the challenge. But I think it's if it's voluntary, as you said, you have more chance to learn it efficiently and with pleasure, at
Yes.
least. So yeah, I think it's kind of the best way to learn language, being motivated, and um, yeah, I believe so. And yeah, and amongst the languages, I know some basics. Of course, well, I shouldn't say it because it's very, very, very few words I know in Luxembourgish, but I know in Luxembourgish and what you transition, you know. And let's speak about your language, Luxembourgish.
Sure.
uh, well, so. Uh, Luxembourgish, it's incredible. I don't know for those who are viewing the video, I really really recommend you to go just listening Luxembourgish because it's incredible. Mainly, at least from a point of view of a French speaker, it's something incredible because you use a lot of French words, no, but
Yeah.
you don't use it like you know in Spanish. There are similar words in English as well, from English to French, but you use it, but you don't change it. You just use it as it is, the way it is in French. So it's like a mix of Germanic language with French words. For example, I've ever heard some languages, some Luxembourgish, and it was like you begin a phrase that seems rather Germanic, and then you say entre guillemets, and it's it's like, what? Are you translating something or no? It's just the way it is in Luxembourgish, and it's it's incredible. You also use, yeah, like carte d'identité,
Mhm.
an ID. You just say it this way.
Mhm.
It's awesome, and yeah. So is it so? To say it, when you want to describe Luxembourgish, and if you want to be quick, you often say that it's a mix between German and French. Is that right?
Yeah, it's that's what it sounds like, I think, to a lot of foreigners, a mix between German and French. I think it's just something that came about naturally from all the invaders that were in Luxembourg over time. You know, like there's
Yeah.
been so much back and forth between different nations coming and going that
Mhm.
over time it just evolved that way. Yeah, I would say probably the grammar and sentence structure is more Germanic, and the words. I don't know if we have more Francophone words in Luxembourgish than Germanic, but there's certainly a lot of French words, and often we just sort of change the pronunciation a bit.
Yeah. Yeah,
Uh,
like I know,
we don't say
nice.
entre guillemets, we say entre guillemets.
Yeah, it seems kind of the same to me, but
Okay, well, the accent is on the
yeah,
first
the first
guillemets,
accent.
whereas you
Give
say
me, yeah, yeah,
guillemets.
yeah. Okay, it's not the same. You say, yeah, sure.
So we
It's
change
not the
it a little
same.
bit to adapt to our
Yeah,
flow of the language, or
sure.
la construction, construction.
Ah, yes, okay, yes.
It's
You
just a
use it
little
that
bit
way.
different.
Yeah, great. And then nice to meet you. It's like enchanté, enchanté.
Enchanté. Mhm.
Yeah, in French, enchanté. So yes, it's incredible. And then you say merci, like thank you, merci.
Yeah,
No, exactly as
yeah,
in French. I know that in Farsi, it's the
yeah.
same as well.
Okay.
I don't know more languages. When I learned it was the same in Luxembourg. I thought it was only French, but obviously not, and it's also Farsi. So
Yeah.
uh, you always have things to discover. But great, and then the fact that Luxembourg is made of German and French, do you think that it helps? Yeah, I guess it helps, but uh, how it helps you to learn those languages, French and German? Is it really an advantage? I mean, can you really take benefit from them?
Do you mean that for me as a Luxembourger, that it makes it easier to learn German or French because there's
Yeah, when you're in
elements of
school.
both included? Okay.
Yeah, that's what I
Absolutely,
mean.
yeah. It does. And I think that's why a lot of Luxembourgish kids find it easier to learn German than to learn French because the grammar and sentence structure is more similar. And you
Yeah,
really have to change that quite drastically to be able to speak French. But it definitely helps that some of the vocabulary is shared. Then you have to learn less, and it's easier for your brain to remember.
yeah,
So,
sure.
where does your interest for Luxembourgish come from?
Well, first of all, I don't know if I told you, but I'm from the south of Belgium, but really the south from the province. I don't know in English, the province
Hmm.
of Luxembourg. By
Yes,
the way, I don't know if you know Bastogne.
yes.
Okay, but I live there.
Okay.
So for those who don't know, you probably don't know my city if you view it from I don't know from Brazil, but it's a city very close to Luxembourg,
Hmm.
and a lot of people from my region go working in Luxembourg
Hmm.
um, because yeah, in Luxembourg you have some advantages, mainly in terms of salary, that we don't have in Belgium. So yeah, some of uh, people that I meet, some of my my friends and so on, maybe they have planned to go working on in Luxembourg in the future, and then they also want to learn some of Luxembourgish, and then they know that I'm interested in languages. They just asked me, "Hey, do you know some words in Luxembourgish?" I was just like, "No, not really." And then I just bought some books, and I just try to learn some, and this way I met you. I met your page and so on, and then that's all. I'm not really, to be honest, I'm not really um, learning Luxembourgish at the moment, but it really seems an interesting language, and it doesn't seem so hard. I mean, I was ever told that it's like a simplified German. Maybe it's wrong, but in terms of the grammar, it's easier than German. No, in terms, I don't know. You never learned it, but it's like it doesn't seem so difficult to me. As I say, I've never learned it really, but I don't know.
Yeah. Maybe it's Luxembourgish as a language is easier to learn for a French speaker because there's so much shared vocabulary that you don't have. If a French speaker is trying to learn German, there's really not a lot of shared vocabulary. So you have to learn grammar plus vocab. And this way you can kind of make stuff up for vocabulary.
Sure.
And try your French word and see if it is the same in Luxembourgish. And you concentrate maybe a little bit more on learning the grammar, which will be pretty new to French speakers.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure that in any other way Luxembourgish would be, or that Luxembourgish is a simplified version of German. I'm not sure. I think it's like with any languages, some aspects are easier and other aspects are more difficult.
Yeah, maybe. But as I say, I don't know. I was told it. I've ever been told it by people who only speak one language. So it's not really valuable. But I will see. Why not? One day, really try to learn it in deeply, and why not? I don't know. But one of the of course, do you know how many people live in Luxembourg? How many are you in Luxembourg?
I think about 500,000.
Half a million, yeah, that's
not
not
a lot.
that much. So one of the problem you can face when you learn Luxembourgish in another country is, of course, the native speaker. Because you're not that much on the website. To learn languages, and then it's not easy. But hopefully, there are people like you that make it easier by writing books and so on. But I think you saw it right. Like there is a lack of resources to learn Luxembourgish. Of course, there are not many people that want to learn it, but there are people, more and more, I think, and that's how I'll go to my next question. Is it important to learn Luxembourgish when you live in Luxembourg?
Important, I would say yes, but it's not a must for everybody, and I think that's fine. I tend to say that you can get by in Luxembourg without Luxembourgish. But the question for me personally is, do you want to get by and just survive, or do you want to live your life? Do you want to improve your life? Do you want to understand what other people around you are saying? For example, at work sometimes when people speak in Luxembourgish, do you want to know maybe what they're saying? Maybe it's important.
Sure.
Or maybe it's just interesting. It's a question of meeting your neighbors, being able to speak to your neighbors, and understanding when the person on the radio tells you about traffic and weather. It's for all those reasons. Luxembourgish is different than other languages because you don't have to learn. But I think your life will improve if you do. You'll have more fun. I think you'll meet more people.
I think so. You can. I don't remember. It was a really beautiful phrase. It's like if you, yeah, if you talk to someone in language he understands, you'll touch his head, and if you, his mind, and if you
Yes.
talk to him in his language, you'll touch his heart. No,
Yes.
and I think it's pretty true. For language, for Luxembourgish as well. You can live every day. You can live your whole life in Luxembourg without speaking any word of Luxembourgish because people
Yeah.
speak obviously your language. Yeah, it all depends. If you're Polish, maybe it's more difficult if you only want to speak Polish. But if you speak, yeah, French, German, or English, but yeah, if you want to get integrated in the culture, if you want to, and yeah, even if you speak it, I was told here from a region that have a lot of people that go in who go in Luxembourg to work. Um, um, they say that you protect more and more. You're protecting more and more your language, and you more and more want people that come in Luxembourg to work. You want them to speak Luxembourgish, to get the job. Is that right?
Mm, I'm not sure if that is increasing now. I'm not sure. But I think there are advantages to be gained
If
for
you
an
speak.
employer if you do speak Luxembourgish. In not in all jobs, but for some, if you're a salesperson and depending on who your clients are,
Yeah,
you it's definitely an advantage if you speak Luxembourgish. Um, you know, there's yeah, there's also many people who don't want to learn Luxembourgish, and from my point of view, I'm totally fine with that. I Some people get really mad, like everybody should learn Luxembourgish. I just want to concentrate on the people who actually already want to learn it, but so
hmm,
far they haven't been able to for some reason, like there's not that many resources out there to
sure.
learn it,
Yeah,
especially on your own. You can go to a class. Some classes are overfilled. You got to get on a waiting list, but
yeah,
you kind of have the option to go in a class and learn it. But if you want to do it on your own, it's much more difficult because there's just not the resources. And that's
sure.
why I wrote the book.
Yeah, once again, it was a great idea. And then, yeah, so you and how do you consider, yeah, those people? Have you, between the Luxembourgish people, do you have a certain view of those people who uh, come to work in your country every day, earning your money? But yeah, no, it's not about money, but and that just go back home in Belgium, in France, in Germany, and they don't care about your language. They don't want to learn it. It's like, do you? I don't know. How do you feel about? Do you feel something first of all? And if yes, how do you feel?
um, I'm really fine with that. I totally understand people, it's not easy to learn a language when you're working full time and you have a family and you're
Yeah,
trying
that's
to
right.
get by.
Mhm.
And I I totally understand that that's the priority for the people, and it's not necessarily to learn Luxembourgish.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, having said that, I believe that depending on what you do and who you are, there's absolute advantages to learning Luxembourgish, but
Yeah,
um, only if you want to.
yeah,
I'm
sure.
not. I would never force everyone to speak it.
Yeah, yeah. It's yeah, it's a brave point of view. But yeah, but for example, I was told if you're a businessman or something, and if you just greet the man in Luxembourg in Luxembourgish, you have a point, no? Even though after the man notices that you don't speak Luxembourgish, so he he starts in French or in German, but at least you tried it. You showed him that you at least you tried it, and then you have a point. No,
Hmm.
it's basically what you said. No.
Absolutely. I think most Luxembourgers are very flattered if you do try to speak their language
Yeah.
because they
Like if
know you don't have to learn it, but you
yeah
still went to the trouble of learning at least a little bit. And
yeah
that's something that can go a long way. And you'll you'll find that most people will immediately smile and be
yeah
very helpful in whatever your needs may be. Um,
yeah
so yeah, it's again that's an advantage.
yeah sure. And you feel it when you go. I've ever been to Luxembourg some a few times, and yeah, even though you only say moyen, which is
Mhm.
hello, yeah, you feel it. You feel that they they just yeah they see it, and it's like yeah they you feel that they're glad that at least you said it, because it's not so much you're not obligated to do it as you said, but at least you make a step in their direction, and it's a good point, I think. And a last question before changing on the topic of Luxembourg, Luxembourgish, sorry. I was told that you never have to call Luxembourgish a dialect, because some people say, yeah, it's a dialect, it's a German dialect, they, that only Luxembourgers speak. Is that right? You have to consider it as a language. Yeah, we have, but
I know what you're saying, and I tend to feel strongly about that one too. It's just well, I want to say I'm not a linguist, so I don't. There's probably technical definitions of language versus dialect, but I think if you were to call Luxembourgish a dialect, you'd have to call all languages a dialect, because
sure,
at some point all languages came from some root. A lot of languages share a common root, like English is a Germanic language, just like Luxembourgish is a Germanic language.
sure,
So
yeah,
yeah, I think if you really want to insist on calling Luxembourgish a dialect, then let's call all languages a dialect. Um, but I, I think Luxembourgish is a language also because it's the language of a whole nation.
sure,
It's the
yeah,
language of a whole country, even though not all the people living in that country may speak it. But the same is true for Canada, for example. Not everybody, not every Canadian speaks French or or
no,
English.
yeah, sure, or English,
So,
yeah.
but as a whole nation, official languages of Canada are English and French. So, yeah, I would, yeah, I do, I do get mad when people call it a dialect, I guess.
Okay. Yeah, yeah, it's normal. It's normal. You have to be proud of your roots and your country. And yeah, if there are people in Luxembourg that, I was told that uh, older people just only speak Luxembourgish because they are older. Is that right? But they are the only one, no? The there's
You
the
mean
last
there's some people who only speak Luxembourgish?
who only speak. Yeah, yeah, that's what I
Oh,
mean.
okay. I think maybe, but they must be very few.
Very
Must be
few.
very
Yeah.
few of those, yeah. Because
Okay.
even as I say, my grandmother was able to speak German and could
Oh
get
yes.
by in French.
So it's quite old, yeah. I mean, the fact that you learn languages, it's quite old,
Yes,
obviously. Okay,
we've been a
great.
small place for a long time.
Yeah, yeah, that's great. You're played. At least most of people know uh, where Luxembourg is in a map. I think because a lot of a lot of things happen there, and um, I think about the European Union, for example, and you're a small nation, but you you do great your job. You develop great your country. Yeah, that's that's great. Really, really. A lot of people admire Luxembourg from here, for example. But yeah, okay,
That's
okay.
lovely to hear.
Yeah,
I,
that's right. That's right.
I often get the opposite in North America because Luxembourg is just, it's a little too small for people here to know it.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, in the other side of the ocean, yeah, maybe it's different. But
Yeah.
okay, here at least. Okay, great. So now, the last topic that I'd like to to talk about with you is your work. So, you teach Luxembourg, as we said at the beginning of the video. So, um, um, how did you start? Well, I said different things like your channel, your page, and how did you start to get known, uh, if I can speak this
I'm gonna start from the beginning of the story because it's such a personal story for
story.
me. Because we
Sure,
were
sure.
in my husband, my Canadian husband, and I used to live in Luxembourg, and as
Yeah,
soon as we got there, my husband wanted to learn Luxembourgish, and at the time I wasn't able to teach him anything because I didn't know anything about my own language. So we bought some books, I tried to learn it, and I tried to teach him, and it just didn't work for him to go to a class with a full-time job and other commitments.
yeah, sure.
So we just tried it on our own, and we failed miserably. He
Ah,
did he learned a little bit, uh, but it was just we just couldn't get it all together because there was no resources to really help us. Most
hmm,
books that are out for the Luxembourgish language are books that are meant to be accompanied by a teacher.
hmm,
So you'll find that a lot of them have lots of pictures and Luxembourgish words, but no explanation and no other language to tell you what this is that you're seeing.
yeah, sure.
So uh, we kept trying a little bit, but as I said, very little success.
Hmm.
And then in the end, I said, okay, well, if I'm going to teach you, I have to really understand this language. So that's how I got my certificate, because I just wanted to be able to answer his questions. So when you're learning a
Sure,
language,
yeah.
you have lots of questions. Like, why do you say den auto, the car,
Yeah, sure. Hmm.
but you say the comedy, the the noise? Like, why
Hmm.
is it den the one time and de the other time?
Yeah, sure.
And before I got my certificate, I had no idea. I said, I think it's the same word, but I'm not sure.
Ah, yes, okay.
So I learned my own language to be able to answer his
Yeah,
questions. And then, as timing so wanted, we moved to Canada. But sometimes when you move away, you become even more aware of the things that are important to you.
sure.
So I thought, okay, well, we struggled for so long and we didn't have the resources, so I'm just gonna add to the resources. I'm gonna make this book that we were missing this whole time in Luxembourg that explains the Luxembourgish language, but explains it in English.
Sure.
So that's how I started writing the book, and it took me a little longer than I thought it would. It's just coming out now, but
Yeah,
at
but
least it's there and people
you
have
did it.
something they can use to learn on
Hmm.
their own.
Sure, sure. Okay. That's great. And then you teach. So what's the target of your book in terms of level? I mean.
So it's built on the Common European Framework of Reference for Languages,
Hmm.
which I think now if you go to a proper language school, they'll only teach you in that framework. So it's a beginner level, and the
Yes.
technical term is an A1
An
for
A1.
people
Okay.
people who really know nothing. I start from the beginning,
Yeah.
and it's it's for adults.
For adults, yeah.
Teenagers will probably be totally fine with it, but it's not a kid's book.
Yeah,
There's
I guess.
a lot of, well, not a lot, but some of the books that are available in Luxembourg to learn Luxembourgish are meant for kids, but this is not. This
Ah,
is
yes.
for adults.
Hmm.
And then it's
Okay, yeah.
for people whose mother language is English, but not necessarily. I specifically wrote it in easy terms so that as many people as possible can understand it. So even if
Sure.
you're a native Polish speaker,
Yes.
even if you're a French speaker
Uh-huh.
and you know some English,
Some
you'll
English.
absolutely understand.
That's great. Yeah. Okay. Okay. And then is there an audiobook with it? I mean, do you have audio files?
Yes, initially I wanted to make a CD to go with it,
Hmm. Yes.
but then I thought, okay, CD, who has a CD player anymore? Some people
Yeah.
might not have a CD player anymore.
Sure. No, that's right. That's right.
And it's not that practical. Like you're not going to take your audio CD with you in the bus
True.
and listen to
Yeah,
it.
that's right. Hmm.
So I was looking for another solution. So I came up with these QR codes that are placed in the book everywhere now.
Yeah.
So that whenever I teach a new sentence, you can put your phone to the QR code and immediately the audio will come up and you'll be able to listen to the right track right away.
Okay.
And for
Okay.
people who don't want to do that, because there might be some people who don't want to do that, you can also just download it from my website.
Yeah. Okay.
But
Yeah.
there is audio to go with the book.
Yeah. Yeah. Sure. Okay. Yeah. That's weird because I bought. I don't know if you know that it exists. Assimil Luxembourgish French.
Yes.
I bought it, and it's the first assignment that I I've seen that has a QR code,
Yeah.
as you said, and it's the same, and it's also in Luxembourgish.
Mhm.
But a small review of this one, I've done more of yeah, like 80% of the lessons, I think, and I don't like it so much. I really like Asimil in general, but this one is made totally differently, first of all, and I don't like it that much because it's yeah, it's really yeah, it's maybe it's this that I don't really like. It's for people who, for example, there is a lesson at the station, there is a lesson at the market, and it's just for people that want to go shopping and to go to live their everyday life. But it's not in. It doesn't explain the grammar. It doesn't, and
Mhm.
maybe that's why I don't like it so much because I think that I'm a bit too. I don't know, but I want to know not everything, but I want to know how it works and so on.
Mhm.
But well, but for some people, maybe it's gonna work. I hope. Okay, great. And then you also have a Facebook page, and you post very often things on it, like nearly every day, you know?
Yes. So I started with the Facebook and Twitter um, to I guess because I was just getting impatient with the book because I realized
Yeah.
it was
Ah,
taking
yes.
a long time
Okay.
and, and I wanted to give something to people that they could learn. while waiting, so to speak. So I thought, okay, it's best. You really learn a language best if you do it in short, frequent, regular doses. So I thought I'll publish a sentence a day, and I'll just send. That's what I do. I put one sentence, or it's usually a sentence. Sometimes it's a word or a quote or a saying.
Yeah.
I publish something from TV shows sometimes, just funny quotes.
Yeah,
And I translate it into English, and then hopefully people will find maybe it's not useful for everybody every day, but there should be something once a week at least, I hope, that you can use in your everyday life.
Yeah.
And, you know, you have to meet people where they are too.
Sure.
And people, I'm not saying people are on Facebook all the time, but people do check their Facebook accounts regularly. So why not make this an educational platform and teach people something on the way?
Yeah, and according to someone who liked your page and who sees it very often, like every day, I can say that it's very useful because furthermore you use a lot of you play on emotions. Your sentences are very often quite funny, and then it helps you to remember, and it helps you want to learn it. And really it's useful, and it's useful.
Thank you.
At least for me, it's useful more than once a week. So
that's good to hear.
I'm sure about it. Yeah, that's great. And then and I think the first time that I've met one of your products, not product, but one of your place where you teach Luxembourg, it was on YouTube. So you also have a YouTube channel.
Yes, and I would love to do much more with that, but the time.
Sure.
Yes, no, it does. Video is a medium that is. It's not completely new to me, but it does. I'm not like a video pro or anything, so it takes a little bit of time to get into it and get good at it. It takes a little bit of time to edit your video, and so often I lack the time to do it. But I'd love to do more videos on YouTube because I think people also enjoy it. And again, people could learn in small doses through YouTube videos.
Sure. Yeah, and it's quicker. It's true. It's quicker to post something on Facebook than making a video, of course. But it's true. You have a few videos, but those that exist are very, very good because for example, there is one. You go to the theater, I think, with your husband, if I understood well, and you're on camera and you say, hush, c'est frouge, no, c'est frouge.
Yeah, je frouge.
Yeah, you see, I watched it. I remember it, so it means that it works. So
absolutely, that's amazing.
Yeah. That's great. And then I think the last media that you use to teach Luxembourgish, it's your website, learnluxembourgish.com. Yeah.
Yes.com. Yeah.
.com. Okay. And I just went on it yesterday just to see something, and it has changed a lot. It's more. I don't know how to say in English. It's more. I'm more willing to go there now because you changed things, and it's very interactive now, and it's very simple, very that's great, really. So, and there you do I think also a lot of things, like you teach Luxembourg on Skype. No, that's one of your and then people can just buy a lesson with you.
Yes. So what I want to do probably around May, once I'm, because I'll be in Luxembourg to promote the book and kind of launch it in March. And then once I'm back and kind of get my life back in order, I think what I want to do then in May is to do more classes again, maybe even extend the audience so that maybe some sort of webinar, maybe, so that more people can tune in. The more people that tune in, the cheaper it gets for everybody. Because if you do a private lesson, it's very expensive. The teacher has to charge a lot because they need a lot of time to prepare, and so for one person, it's quite expensive. So if we could extend that and make it available to more people at the same time, it would reduce the cost for everybody. And then I could do more Skype lessons, or however you want to call it. So that's kind of what I want to do in the future. But there's many possibilities. I mean, Luxembourgish is still lacking lots of resources. So there's so much work to do, and I'd love to attack it all at the same time, but of course I have to pick my battles.
Okay, yeah, sure. And then,
but you can now also buy just like a half hour with me on Skype. I limit it in time because I don't have, with the book launch, I don't have the time to do a full class. But if you have a question here or there, or you have something that you want to practice specifically, then you can buy the half hour on Skype. You can tell me your topic in advance, and then I have time to do that sort of coaching.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, you must be the only one who does it in online, for Luxembourgish at least. So that's great. That's great.
I'm not sure that I am, but I'm pretty sure I'm the only one who makes it publicly known that much that I do this.
Yeah, this is for sure. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
This is for sure. Great. And then, so you are a teacher, and I've been teaching French. Do you know Italki? Yeah.
Italki, yes, the website.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, great. I've been teaching French there for more than 1 year, and I know that one of the best gift that a student can give to his teacher is achieving our goals and reach the level he wanted to reach in French in my case, but Luxembourgish in your case. Have you ever met people, I don't know, amongst your student or not, that who spoke Luxembourgish really well, like kind of perfectly, like I've never, I don't know.
You mean that I taught them at the beginning and then I see them years later and they speak perfectly? You mean like that?
Yeah, if so, yes. But even someone who has lived in Luxembourg for a while and who speak it very, very well.
Do you mean have I met someone who learned?
Yeah. Have you met someone?
Okay.
Have you ever seen?
Yes, absolutely. Even English speakers who came to Luxembourg and didn't know anything and didn't learn it at first, got into it slowly, and now I can tell them anything in Luxembourgish.
That's great. Yeah, that's great. Okay, right. Yeah, but I don't know. I wanted to know it with Luxembourgish. It's not different than another language, but if people really learn it deeply, like I want to reach a perfect level, that's great. Okay, great. And I just want to warn you. Basically, we are making this video to upload it later on YouTube, but it's in live, and we just had a spectator right now. I don't know who is it, but yeah, hi. If you see,
Willkommen.
yeah, yeah. Well, welcome if you see. Okay, great. And then yeah, we're gonna just a last question. So you, if I understood, you have a son, right?
I do.
Yeah.
Yes.
How old is he?
He's gonna be 4 in May,
Okay,
so
for
he's
and
still quite little and very entertaining.
yeah, what's your yeah, I guess what's your plan, you and your husband, in terms of languages? Are you going to teach him English and Luxembourgish?
It, having my son and moving away from Luxembourg was partly also the motivation of why Luxembourgish became so important to me, because I wanted to preserve that heritage for him. I didn't want to lose it all just because we moved away. And
Sure.
I mean, aside from that, I also just plainly want him to have the advantages of being bilingual.
Hmm. Sure,
So
yeah.
I do speak Luxembourgish to him as
That's
much
great.
as possible. It's
Hmm.
not always possible if you're the only speaker of a language in your area. It's not always
Sure,
possible to only speak that language to your child all the time.
that's right. Sure, yeah.
Yeah, but no, I do speak to him a lot, and he understands everything.
Great. Okay.
He, I mean, he also speaks, but I would say he mostly uses English, and then just some words here and there he throws in Luxembourgish.
That's
So
great.
it's quite amusing sometimes, but very
Yeah,
irregular.
at this age, children don't really know, don't really make the difference between languages, no? Between different
No,
languages when they are, yeah. Mhm. But
it took a few years. Now he understands that that different people speak different languages.
I,
He gets it. But initially he didn't. Because we would ask him, um, "Mommy says it in this way, and Daddy says it in that way," and he really didn't care.
yeah, yeah, I guess.
It was all the same to him. Even he understood both, but
Hmm.
it didn't matter. And now he realizes that it's just it's the concept of language. You know, different people call stuff
Hmm.
differently.
Yeah, sure.
Um,
That's great.
so
That's great.
it's great to see.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It must be great to yeah to see him grow up with those languages, and yeah, that's fun. Okay, so Liz, we've been speaking for 1 hour, I think, something like this. Thanks a lot for this interview. It was really interesting. I've learned a lot. And so just a last thing, if you could emphasize one word that is for you interesting to, or that is for you useful, the most useful thing you need to do, I don't know, to learn language by yourself. What would it be? In one word, if you can.
Okay, hold on. I'm gonna thank you first of all. Also,
Okay.
um, it it has been a pleasure talking with you. I can't believe how young you are, and
Well,
it's admirable to have such motivation to learn languages, and you take matters into your own hands, and you're very active with your learning, which is, yeah, very admirable. So keep that up.
thank you. Thank you.
Uh,
Yeah.
okay, the one word, the most useful thing to learn a language, is that the question?
Yeah, for people, yeah. If you know.
Fun.
Fun. That's great.
Fun.
That's an interesting one.
Fun, because
Okay.
when you're having fun, when you're having positive emotions, your brain works well, you learn fast and efficiently, you remember stuff,
Sure.
and you keep going, right? So if you're learning a language, try to make it fun.
Yeah.
Enjoy
Sure.
it,
Okay.
and
Great
go
tip.
go out there and speak, meet people. Meeting people is a lot of fun.
Sure. Yeah. Whatever you do in life, if you have fun, you'll do it with pleasure.
Yes, yeah,
Great.
and
Great.
you'll make fast progress, I think. I really see that, and that's partly why I don't necessarily want to, or I'm not for forcing people to learn a language, because if it's not fun for someone, they're not gonna learn. What's
Sure.
the what's the
That's right.
point? But
Yeah.
if you're
Okay.
having fun with it, I'd love to teach you.
Great. Yeah. It's with this great tip that we are saying goodbye to each other. And thanks a lot, Liz, and good luck in everything you do in your life with Luxembourg, Luxembourgish
Thank
and so
you. The
on.
same
And
to you.
yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Bye.
Keep me posted on your adventures.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Eddie.
Bye. Eddie.